9:25. You're on KBN TV, and this is State of the Nation. Thank you very much for choosing to join us tonight. As usual, sincere apologies for coming to you late by 9 minutes. We're overrunning because of the news. However, we are here. Tonight we are looking at Parliament and many other issues to do with current affairs. My guest on the show tonight is not only a very well-known and outspoken parliamentarian who is independent member of the House representing the Nkana constituents. Today he's been handed down with a suspension of 1 week by the Speaker of the National Assembly. And I'm talking about the Honorable Member of Nkana, Honorable Binwell Mpundu. Welcome to State of the Nation.
Thank you so much, Pastor. I'm very humbled for the invitation. Permit me to pass my regards or greetings to those that may be joining us for this conversation.
Wonderful. I mean, let's pick up, from perhaps where I, alluded to in my preamble. Today, you were handed down a suspension for 7 days for the benefit of those who may not have followed business in the House today. Could you just bring us to speed? What led to this?
It will be very important for the citizens of this country to understand what is going on in Parliament vis-a-vis what is expected of us as representatives, members of Parliament, and exactly what we face in that Parliament.
Yes.
I must state from the onset that sometimes we, the members of Parliament, particularly those who are on the opposite side, have been pushed or have to be pushed beyond limits. You wish to know that the environment in Parliament has become so hostile to a point that you see our demeanor changing, and we are now adopting a defensive mechanism to a point where sometimes our reactions may be what not everybody expects. But you wish to understand that we are going through challenges that unfortunately a lot of people are not paying attention to. As an example, there's a lot of bullying going on, by the UPND, which goes unattended to by the speakers. Every time you stand in Parliament to speak, the levels of heckling, the unpalatable language that is thrown at you by the UPND members goes unchallenged by the speakers. Should you to try to do anything, as an example today, I have been chased out of Parliament for no apparent reason, Pastor. I think, and I want to challenge the citizens, that contrary to these small clips that you see circulating on social media that only depicts a reaction, people must start getting interest to understand, where has this reaction come from? I've always said that we are a country, unfortunately, that turns victims into villains. Okay? We focus on reactions and we ignore the provocations. If you follow the entire processions of Parliament, you then realize that the problem is not actually the reactions. The problem is where, the provocation that is coming. As an example, yesterday, which is, I think, where I've gotten a lot of condemnations because of perhaps the language I used. You realize that the same gentleman, the same member of Parliament who was bullying me is the same one who went in the path of Honorable Kapianga. You remember there's a clip on social media when Honorable Kapianga is referring to an MP as a Freemason. This is the same character who got into my path. So you must then begin to ask the questions. Could it be coincidence that the same person is always finding himself in crossing our path? Now, just to respond to what has happened today, why I've been sent out of Parliament, this is a build-up from yesterday. So yesterday, for the sake of the public, you wish to know, the Minister of Finance presented a supplementary budget. Now, a supplementary budget means a top-up to the budget we passed for 2025. So last year, we passed we appropriated a budget for 2025 to a tune of 217 billion kwacha. Now, part of the financing for the 2025 budget is loans. We are supposed to contract loans or debts to a tune of 15.6 billion kwacha. Now, midway, this is June, July now, the Minister of Finance has come back to the August House that, wait a minute, there are a few things that we did not foresee. So we have to adjust the budget, we have to give it a supplementary or a top-up. So he has come with a top-up of about 33 billion kwacha. Now, 33 billion kwacha represents 15.5% of the 2025 national budget. Midway the fiscal year of 2025, the Minister of Finance comes back to say, wait a minute, there are a few things that we did not foresee, so we have to now give a top-up of 50% of the national budget. Now, that's unprecedented in terms of quantums, but it also shows clearly the departure from what is acceptable in terms of fiscal management. It tells you that the UPND government is very indisciplined in managing the fiscal space. All right? Now, by yesterday, our conversation was around this supplementary budget, which again is coming with another portion of borrowing. To finance the 33 billion supplementary budget, Sokotwani is asking us to borrow another 14.8 billion kwacha. Now, when you put the two figures, which are going towards the 2025 national budget, 15.5 budget, rather a billion kwacha, the debt we're supposed to contract towards the actual 2025 national budget. The supplementary budget also comes with a 14.8 billion. Together, we are contracting 30.6 billion kwacha for the year 2025 national budget. Pastor, 30.6 billion kwacha means for this year alone, we are contracting $1.27 billion. Interestingly, the has decided that must borrow this money locally from our commercials at 13%, or in fact 13.5% interest rate. Now, it will interest you that this particular borrowing will be borrowed not in kwacha, in dollars. So in short, this is a Eurobond. Okay, Eurobond does not mean we got a loan from Euro. Every time you get a loan or you get debts in denominations that are not designated, not your own currency, it is termed a Eurobond. So we are contracting another Eurobond to a tune of 14.8 billion kwacha. Interestingly, we have to pay at least not more than 1% in handling fees. Now, yesterday, it will interest you that I raised a question to the Minister of Finance. Why are we borrowing? Why have we continued to borrow when the undertaking of the UPND government, when they were elected, was such that they are not going to borrow? Because you remember, the UPND used to castigate the PF for borrowing. We had borrowed so much under PF, and the UPND's commitment was that we are going to depart from borrowing, meaning that we are going to find sustainable ways of financing our national budgets or our national economic activities. Down the line, 4 years down the line, you should know by now that we have contracted in excess of $6 billion in just 4 years. As an example, this particular year we are talking about, we are contracting $1.27 billion. Now, my question yesterday to the minister was, why are we borrowing? Could it be, and it was a very genuine question, could it be that the ministry or the minister could be getting a commission from the debts we are contracting? Because there's no justification, Pastor, that we must continue to borrow when we are endowed with so much mineral wealth.
You said the minister mentioned certain things that were unforeseen. And so if he justified, you are saying we are borrowing needlessly. You reckon whatever reasons he gave were not convincing enough?
Not at all. Because you see, supplementary budgets are, well, of course, provided for within the law. We can present a supplementary budget. But you see, when you continue supplementing your budget, it indicates, unfortunately, a serious, mismanagement of your resources, number one. It also indicates that you lack force in terms of prudent planning and execution of your budget. Because a minister of finance should have a foresight, should plan ahead, should see unforeseen, should be able to predict that we may have this and that and plan for that. So supplementary budget indicates that your planning is poor. It indicates that you are indisciplined at managing the budget. It erodes actually the confidence of the public, because it means that you are not prudent managers. You can't predict properly. You can't put your house in order. That is basically what it indicates. Now,
so your insinuation was that the minister may be getting a cut of 1%?
I did not insinuate that. I was basically trying to ask a genuine question, because you see, I am bothered by this scenario. We are in a country where our streets are paved with opportunities in terms of mineral wealth. I was giving as an example yesterday the mineral wealth that has been discovered in Mpundo. Okay? Now, Mpundo is not an isolated case. We are endowed with mineral resources, particularly gold, that is easy to mine in almost every part of the country. If you ask anybody who is in Mpundo today, even little children are trading in gold today. Today, everybody you meet who is coming from Mpundo is driving a latest car. Stories from Mpundo are that young men are moving with 1, 2, 3 kgs of gold. When you have such resources, please look around, look on the internet and see how much gold is fetching on the international market. It begs therefore the question, why would the government continue to borrow when you are endowed with so much resources? Because at this point, the Minister of Finance could have come to Parliament and suggested we need to adjust our budget. We need to supplement our budget. But the resources, the revenues, should have at least been coming from such resources as the gold resource in Mpundo. So I am genuinely asking this question, and it's not the first time I'm asking this question. Why are we wasting these resources? Why are we ignoring these opportunities to finance our developmental needs, and we continue to rely on borrowing? Could it be that we are being motivated by kickbacks? Now, that is basically a question, but of course, I was censured over that statement yesterday to a point where I was being made to retract that statement. Now, as you noticed yesterday, throughout my submission in Parliament, I kept on being interrupted. Our friends from the UPND kept on heckling all the way to a point where I was forced to react. Like I said in my preamble, sometimes the environment gets so hostile that your reaction gets out of line. All right? Now,
the viewers will be very interested to know that what are the assumptions around the commission, 1%. And if I don't know if you did the math, what would be 1% of, you called it 14 billion?
Yeah.
What is 1% of that?
So let's assume, let's put this into context. This year alone, we are borrowing $1.2 billion. $1.27 billion. If there will be an arrangement fee for us to contract the $1.2 billion of 1%, it means that this country is going to pay $12.27 million in arrangement fees. Now, arrangement fees simply means a commission. There's no two ways about it. Arrangement fee means a commission. Of course, it would be unfair to say this commission is going to the Minister of Finance. But somewhere, somehow, somebody is getting this fee.
The minister just needed to tell
exactly
the public through Parliament that this is going to the bank or it is going to whoever is negotiating, isn't it?
Yes, and this is a very important, interjection you've put in. Parliament is a place where we take questions. We ask questions on behalf of the public. When we ask questions there, it is not a passport to kick us out of Parliament. Why are we there in the first place? When we ask questions there, we are supposed to be provided with answers. If I wonder, where is this a management fee or arrangement fee going? I think that the answer should be as simple as it is going to the banks or it is going wherever it goes.
So literally,
that is not a justification to kick me out for 7 days.
So literally, for the benefit of viewers, you have been kicked out of the house for 7 days merely for wanting the government to explain where 1% of what we are borrowing is going.
I will challenge